Whew. So, being in a relationship, you definitely learn tons of lessons. Like, it's always ongoing, I would say. Like, every day is different, but you are always, if you're in a true relationship and if you're really committed, I would say the lesson is going to be daily.
Yep.
One thing that I've learned is that, you have to be open and you have to listen and you have to, I guess, cater to your partner's needs. And it's not about you all the time. I think that's life in general. Like, it's just not about you all the time. And, if Logan has a bad day, sometimes you have to kind of put your stuff aside and be there for your partner. Or, if I'm maybe a little tired, and don't get me wrong, I don't do this all the time, but if I'm tired and like Logan's had a long day, I may cook for him, and there's times where I have a long day with work and he cooks for me,
Right.
although he could be doing something else. But I think more than anything, it's kind of sacrificing, but not sacrificing yourself to the point where you get frustrated.
Right, right. I think, one of the things that I often think about, a lot of people have this idea of marriage and relationships, being a fairy tale, and, you have the great big wedding, that sort of coming together in the euphoria with that just goes on forever. It's hard work. It's really, really, really hard work. And sometimes
He sounds so excited about that.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes you're gonna go through rough stretches. You're gonna have a 2 or 3 week period. You get into it about X, you get into it about Y. You're not on the same page. You're just staying in sync like this for a 50 or 60-year marriage. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You slide in opposite directions sometimes. And I think the more and more that I grow into the marriage and we grow into the marriage, we understand that the highs always exceed the lows. But you just have to understand that sometimes that's the way it's going to be. And you can't get too emotional. You can't react. You sort of got to be even keel and continue to grow together and get better.
Yeah, I agree. I think to kind of echo what Logan said, is just that, the highs should outweigh the lows, right? And like, you should be able to remember the quality times and the good times. And like Logan always says, like, when I say something nice to him, he's like, just remember that when I make you mad, right?
Yeah, I try to eat off that as long as I can.
He's like, just remember that when I frustrate you the next time. Yeah. But like, I remember that there are so many solid times that we've had together. Like, we have such a good time together.
Right.
We talk. I can't even tell you how many times the TV is off and there's no sound, and we just sit either in the bed, on the couch, in the kitchen, and we talk for hours, like, about everything.
We just did it last night?
Yeah, I mean, and it's like, I'm like, dude, I gotta get up in the morning. But it's like, we're in such a good conversation that it's like, this is what I love about this relationship. Like, we challenge one another. And I think another thing that I've learned too is just that, you have to be in a relationship where, like, you're with someone that's interesting, intriguing, and that keeps you going. Because otherwise you get bored. I don't know about other people, but I certainly would get bored.
Right.
I don't get bored with Logan. Like, there's no moment where I'm bored with him. And that's, like, such a good situation to be in.
Yeah, we don't get bored with each other, but interestingly, some of the best times are the simplest times that we have. As you mentioned, a great conversation in the car going somewhere. A great conversation on the plane
where you miss
somewhere.
the exit.
Yeah, right. Because we're talking and we're so knee deep into each other and what we're talking about. Just taking a walk outside, getting into the nitty gritty of whatever. And there's so many different things that we talk about. We're just connected in the moment. And like Tamika said, there's been many 2:30 nights, and we look up and we're like, wow, we have to get up and go to work. But the experience that we're getting from the experience together is just overwhelming.
I agree. I mean, the relationships are hard. Like, it's not easy. You have to be with a person or try to select a person. My mom always used to tell me, select the person that you want to be with. Don't select the person that wants to be with you.
Right.
Like, it's very easy to just kind of fall into a relationship just because it's convenient. But like, when you're in a relationship with a quality person that's meant for you, it makes more sense. And it's not difficult to the point, the foundation isn't difficult. like the elevation is complicated, and trying to get to a point where you're always in balance can be complicated at times. But at the core, like, you have to like one another. You have to want to be around the person.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So. Absolutely. And one of the last things that I'll say is, you know, you're gonna, over the course of a lengthy, you know, relationship, a lengthy marriage, you're gonna get in a doghouse sometimes. You're not gonna be in sync, as I mentioned before. You're gonna miss things. You're not gonna be at your best. You just have to have the understanding and realization that it's gonna be that way sometime. Yeah. Learn from it, grow from it. Make sure that you're connected to your partner and you're really understanding of what you can do to get better. It's just, I think too many people just expect the relationship is just like going to go up, 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 up and be euphoric at all times. And you got to get in the trenches sometimes, just like with anything else in life. It's work, it's consistency, and the endurance to get through those things, to get the better days and the next high. The next high comes from all the hard work that you do when you're at a lower point.
For sure. And you know, being in a relationship too, like, as a woman, it's like you have to communicate your needs directly.
Right.
Like, guys are like, I don't know where they are. But, like, it's like, in order for you to get to a place where they have an understanding of what you want, you have to tell them. Like, you can't say, like, I think sometimes...
I don't always pick up the cues. Right, I should, but I'm getting better.
The cues are, like, null and void. But, like, it's, you know, just the other day, I'm like, I think it was the toilet tissue on the roll.
Yes. Sorry.
So, like, this guy doesn't replace the rolls, right? Like, on the toilet roll. And I'm like, do you realize that the rolls just kind of just appear there? And, like, when you need them, they're there for you. But then when I come in, they're all gone. And I'm like, what happened to, like, do you realize where they come from? And he's like, yeah, you go downstairs and you get them. And I'm like, really? Like, what happened to you going downstairs and get them? And then I'm like, can you just go downstairs and get the toilet tissue rolls? And he's like, yeah. He's like, why didn't you just ask me that from the beginning? And I'm like, damn. But that's the kind of stuff, like, you just have to be direct versus trying to be kind of passive or, like, around the way, informing your partner of what you need. So, yeah,
absolutely.
That's how you clear the air and you get to the place.
And I'm going to work on my toilet roll replacement skills.
He's done better. He's done better. I don't know how long it'll last, but he's done better.
Baby steps.